Forget what they show in Jurassic Park and all that. This is the future of dinosaurs. We'll make them mechanical. And solar powered, too. Let the sun shine in. Somebody open that window. Hello everybody, Sparkster1701 here. And then we're continuing our look with the Power of the Prime's Dinobots. This time around we have Snarl. In the G1 continuity, Snarl functioned as a Desert Warrior, which meant he was more suited for the hot environment. Which would seem kind of odd since of his alternate mode being that of a Stegosaurus, which many of us know from our school days. Stegosaurus was an herbivore, so it would prefer areas that had a little more plant life. However, Snarl here gets away with that, partially due to all of the Stegosaurus spines that was always famous on that dinosaur, as the spines are solar collectors. So he can absorb solar energy and transfer that into some of his offensive capabilities. Most notably, he uses it in dinosaur mode and it energizes the tail spines, allowing him to fire them as light beams. So that shows that Larry is somewhat right. This dinosaur is solar powered. And of course, unfortunately, like with many of the other Dinobots that were released in this line, they have considerably fewer weapons than what their Generation 1 counterparts did. Their G1 versions were famous for coming with 2 guns and a sword. So, speaking of the accessories, we'll take a look at Snarl's, and we'll start, of course, with his sword. His sword is done up in a similar shape to the Generation 1 version, but instead of that, it is made in clear plastic instead of the original, which was made out of a soft red plastic. And again, for the benefit of any of those who have missed some of our earlier videos in this series, the Dinobot swords are energon-powered swords. And they function in a similar way to the lightsabers famously seen in the Star Wars media, where it is a blade of pure energy. Now, of course, the Dinobots are not as skilled as a Jedi to swat laser blasts or whatnot. Though you can imagine that if any of their human allies showed them the Star Wars films, they probably would try. And then, of course, next up is the Prime Armor. It's shaped the same as all the others that come with the Dinobots, but it does have one distinctive difference, and that's here on this post. Snarl here is the only one that has it done in this dark gold color that matches the tail and the legs and a few other bits on him. And of course, as this is Prime Armor, the armor can be plugged into his chest, like so, and that gives him an extra set of armor, or like you saw earlier, he can hold it in his hand like a shield. And of course, like with all the others, the Prime Armor does feature this piece here in trans clear plastic. And of course, this socket here is where you would hold a Prime Master. So that if Snarl had that plugged in here, he would gain some additional benefits. And of course, what he would gain would be dependent on who was in there, what character was plugged into him. And of course, also, like the others, it does feature this fold-out section. So it can be used as a hand or a foot for Volcanicus. And now here we'll take a look at Snarl's articulation, and he has about what's been standard for a deluxe class figure in the Power of the Primes line. His head can be turned from side to side, and it is on a small ball joint, so it will look up and down a little. You can raise his arms up about so far, and they do rotate at the shoulder all the way, but the dinosaur tail does get in the way. You can bend his arm at the elbow 90 degrees, and he does feature a swivel at the bicep. So he has the famous G.I. Joe battle grip. You can twist him here at his hips, so he does have some dance moves going for him. You can spread his legs apart almost into a full splits. He does have a pretty good thigh cut, but to be able to use it, you got to spread his legs out pretty far due to all the dinosaur kibble. You can raise his leg up at the hip 90 degrees, but unfortunately, because of the way the dinosaur head is positioned back here, if you get it shifted right, it will allow his legs to bend at the knee 90 degrees. So he does have close to the standard articulation. If only a lot of the dinosaur kibble didn't get in the way. Okay, to transform Snarl here into his dinosaur mode, first thing we have to do is we take his hands and we're going to fold those inside like so. And we got to come back here to his back, and we got to loosen the tail section and fold it back. It only goes back about so far. Now, of course, once that's been done, and of course it needs to move back a little further. There we go. Got it loose now. We can fold his head inside like so. And then now for his arms. His arms are kind of tricky here. The shoulders, as you can see, are on a special gold hinge. We need to shift them at the shoulder downward. Basically get it so that this gold piece is pointing straight to the back. Of course, you can keep the arms facing downward like so. Then we come back up here and we're going to fold the sections of the dinosaur tail together. They don't snap or anything, so don't be expecting any noises. And of course, once that's done, you can fold the section down so that it's flush with the body. Get it flush like this, so that way the tail is protruding off of the chest. You know, almost like this, he kind of looks like the Pyramid Head monster from Silent Hill 2. If you don't know what that is, folks, Google it. Alright, once we got him done like that, we're going to turn him around here to his backside. And then we got to open up this gold section on the back of his legs. Kind of helps reach inside down here at his opening in his feet and pop it free. Get it opened up all the way. Then come up here and we're going to shift the arms. So the arms kind of point downward. And also bend the elbow a bit so that you kind of get the dinosaur feet close to the ground area. We'll make fine adjustments a little later. Now, once you've done that, they recommend folding in the legs. The instructions show to do it one at a time instead of trying to do it together, but kind of whatever works for you. You may have to shift some of the pieces a little bit out of the way so that everybody gets cleared. There we go. Now, once you've got the legs all folded up, then they want you to come down here and you fold these sections back in to be closed. Try to do it roughly at the same time so they line up better. And of course, press the headpiece together and then fold it up nice and neat. And then all that's left to do is rotate out the smaller dinosaur feet at the front. Then we can make any of the minute adjustments that we need to and fold up this pair of spines on the back. And there we have it, folks. Snarl is in his Stegosaurus mode. And of course, if you want to stow his equipment on him, they have spots that can connect to the back thigh. So that way you can store his gear on him. It's primarily best for storage since obviously he isn't going to be very effective at attacking with just a sword attached to his big thigh. Unfortunately, the dinosaur lacks in articulation because the front legs, they only articulate at the shoulder here. The back ones can move at the hip, and they can also bend at the knee. But again, with the way his feet are designed at the back, really doesn't allow you to do a whole lot with him. Okay, now to get Snarl here ready to become a limb for Volcanicus. Since Snarl canonically is a leg, we're going to make him into the leg. Okay, for starters, to get him ready to be a leg, we gotta have him as the dinosaur. And we start by folding down the dinosaur head. Fold that all the way down onto his chest. And then we'll come back here to his back legs. Gonna rotate them at the hip so that they rest along the side. Actually, they're going to connect. You'll see right about in here, there's a post protruding from the side. And if you work with it, it will line up with this hole right here at the kneecap. So you just press that in and it'll hold the legs in place. We have to adjust the gold parts up here at the shoulder to get it to work, but it will work just like that. Now we got to shift these plates aside a moment because we've got to bring up the dinosaur tail. Bring it down as far as you can. And then to complete it, we come right here to this black portion on his chest. And we rotate it out so it has a post. Then, of course, to complete the look, we're going to need one of these foot pieces from Grimlock. And, of course, the prime armor. Make sure the post is sticking straight out like that and connected into the back of the foot. And not everybody considers doing this. I like to because it makes the giants from the Power of the Primes line a little more stable. And then, of course, we just insert the plug right into the hole there. And then there you have it. Snarl will now be a leg to Volcanicus. So now we get to my thoughts. What do I think of Snarl? I like how this version turned out. The gold plastic I'm a little nervous about in a few years, since gold plastic syndrome was a common factor in the early Transformer toys, and it did cause a lot of breakage. And in some cases, modern gold plastic still does. I recently had some that I was using for a Lego thing that I built custom, and it came with some gold U-clips, and getting them set up, and they broke in half on me. So gold plastic's hard to trust. But so far, I've not really seen or heard a lot of complaints about this one. So hopefully by now we've figured out what's caused that and won't ever make it again. As a toy, he's pretty nice. The articulation's a little lacking because of the dinosaur tail being in the way, but that's Snarl's look, so really can't go messing with how he looks. But we'll wait and see later this year how that changes with the new Core Class one coming. At any rate, that's my review of the Power of the Primes version of Snarl. I hope you all enjoyed it. Please do remember that if you like the content that we feature here on this channel, please remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And next time on the channel, we're going to build Volcanicus. So please look forward to that. This is Sparkster1701 saying I will catch you all later.